get started if we can.
Go ahead.
All set? Okay, good morning, John.
Good morning.
All right, let's do a roll call vote. See if we make sure we have a quorum. Dave Demore,
Here.
Joe Semyon,
Here.
Todd Rulison,
Here.
Jane Kelly,
Here.
Mike Fitzgerald,
Here.
Joe Gillis.
Here.
We have a quorum. Move on to the minutes from the December 8th meeting. Everyone has received a copy. Any comments or questions?
Looks good to me. I'd like to make a motion to accept it.
Joe Semyon makes a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
it.
Jane Kelly. Excuse me. Let's do a roll call vote to approve the minutes from the December 8th meeting. Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semyon,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Joe Gillis.
Aye.
Your budget report was attached to the agenda that I emailed out to everyone. On the revenue side, we received the $1,000 payment from Nexus Renewables, which was part of the agreement that's what they would pay us upon executing the lease agreements. We received the payments from Benjamin Moore. Our fees and included in that was legal fees that we are, you'll see below is also an expense. And we had interest earnings of $83.85. On the expenditure side, salaries, disability insurance, the $500 payment to Weston Company for payroll services for last year that they performed on our behalf. The $87.73 was the legal fees incurred as part of the Benjamin Moore project that they provided us the funds, and we made a payment to Fitzgerald Morris in that amount. We had expenditures of $12,152 relative to the Tryon Technology Park. Most of those were with respect to the work that was done by Perrine Contracting in replacing that plugged sewer line that the board had authorized that work to do. We also had some expenses relative to the final bill on mowing, electricity at the wastewater pump station, and replacing the damaged tire that you had approved at the last meeting also. And then the last one was for $850, which was our annual membership for the New York State Economic Development Council, again, which the board approved at last month's meeting. So we had total expenditures of $14,870.08. Any questions on the budget report for last month?
Yeah, Jim, how does that total 14,870, 500 plus 8,700 plus 13,000 plus 850?
Is that correct? You're absolutely correct. It is going to be more, it's more like 23,000, isn't it?
Yeah. I just want to make sure I didn't.
No. I don't know how that happens since this is all done on a calculated spreadsheet, but I will revise that number and let everybody know. I'll resend this to everybody so you have it.
Okay.
Great catch, Dave. I missed that.
Well, I missed it the first time around too. When I first looked at it, when you distributed the agenda, I just noticed it now.
From the looks of it, well, I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll talk with Carol and we'll get that revised.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Jim.
Yep.
The money market account,
Yep.
the 689 or whatever that number is, does that include the 140 some odd thousand from Benjamin Moore, or is that to be added?
Oh, that includes it.
It does include it.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions? Would someone make a motion to accept the budget report as it will be revised?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Tad? Let's do a roll call vote to approve the revised budget report. Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semyon,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
and Joe Gillis.
Aye.
Okay,
I'll eye it too, Jim.
did I not say you, Mike?
You did not.
See Joe Semyon, I took a little cat nap there right in the middle of the meeting.
I wasn't gonna say a word.
Oh, that's not like you, Joe.
I know. I'm turning a new resolution, believe that.
All right, we're going to go to committee reports. The first committee that we're going to have is the report on the nominating committee. The nominating committee is proposing the slate of officers for 2021. Chairman Joe Semyon, Vice Chairman Jane Kelly, Treasurer Mike Fitzgerald, and Secretary for Joe Gillis. Is there any comments or questions on the nominating committee's report?
I bet Dave's gonna nominate that real quick.
I'll make that motion.
I knew that was coming fast.
Is there a second to that motion of accepting the report of the nominating committee?
I second it.
Let's do a roll call vote. Mike Fitzgerald,
Aye.
I'll get you up first. Joe Gillis,
Aye.
Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semyon,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Jane Kelly.
Aye.
Very good. Congratulations to the new officers. I'd like to express my gratitude and thanks to Dave for his 2 years of service as the IDA chairman. Dave, your professionalism and guidance was greatly appreciated. Always available when needed, and appreciated the guidance that you provided to me and to the agency over the last 2 years.
Oh, shucks, it was nothing.
Yeah, he had one period, it was just a piece of cake for him, so.
Yeah.
He really loved that. It's just like when the president takes over, they've got the nice jet black hair, and look at Dave's hair now. So,
Yeah. It's less and it's shorter and it's grayer.
yeah, that's,
Join the club.
I was gonna say, I can't afford much, so I better he's talking in 2 years' time.
And moving forward, looking forward, Joe, to working with you. We will face the challenges that are in front of us, and looking forward to it. So,
We'll do well.
all righty. Audit committee, monthly bank reconciliation. Mike, you had that dubious honor this month. Did you have a chance to look at those?
Yes, I did. Looked what Carol sent me, reviewed them, and found everything to be in order.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Moving on to other reports. County report, John Blackman. Anything to offer this morning?
Well, we had our first board meeting yesterday, 26 resolutions, basically reappointing everybody. Everybody on the IDA board has been reappointed. The big thing was the COVID. I don't know if you've been following it, but a couple of months ago, there were only 400 and some cases. We're now up 1,104. But the one that's more, not good is we only had 36 deaths in December. We're up to 55 deaths now. And the new variant UK is now in Saratoga Springs. So, and then the other thing we talked about was Part B of the vaccine rollout is going to start sometime soon. I think things will change a lot after January the 20th with the new administration. So other than that, that's it.
Any questions for John?
Are
Hey,
you-
John, I'm sorry, Joe. John, are they gonna have the state of the county address this year?
That's still up in the air. I mean, I can tell you right now, everybody is canceling everything for January and into February. You can't even pay your taxes unless you have an appointment. So, you know, basically everything's shutting down. So I think we still got, you know, the next couple of weeks are still going to be pretty bad. So.
Gotcha. Okay.
And my question was just, I see that you're obviously attending our meeting. You're going to be our liaison again for this year. You're on the same committee.
Well, I'm on the same committee, but that will be decided at our committee meeting 2 weeks from now.
Okay, well, you've done a great job, and if you're here, that'd be great next month.
Very good. Terry, a CRG report?
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Tryon Technology Park, we offer Tryon Technology Park to a group needing between 80 to 100 acres. The Benjamin Moore project, the groundbreaking on Benjamin Moore, 117,000 square foot expansion, took place on December 7th, 2020. CRG, we met with Dan Calkins, the CEO of Benjamin Moore, and he was pleased with the proposed expansion in Johnstown. He mentioned that the build out on the project will take approximately 2 years and is estimated at 74 million, including construction and equipment. And then once completed, the project is to create approximately 40 to 50 jobs. The CRG building on 34 West Fulton Street construction project has been complete, and we're waiting on results of the Green Jobs New York energy audit completed on our 34 West Street building. 2018 to 2019 Micro Enterprises Grant Program. We successfully packaged 8 Micro Enterprises grants to Fulton County businesses. They include Royal Mountain Inn, Peck Flowers, Frank's Gun and Tackle Shop, Austin's Glass, Broad Auburn Hotel, and Mama Bees, and Upstate Coffee. To date, our current Micro Enterprise Grant Program has created 19 jobs, about 50-50 ratio between full and part-time jobs. Still may be able to make additional small micro enterprise grants. We received 6 months extension from New York State to allow several businesses to complete some requirements that have not been satisfied due to COVID-19. New York State is planning to offer another micro enterprise grant program for 2021. 2021 Initiative Guide to Fulton County. We started distributing our 2021 Initiative Guide to Fulton County magazine to our attended audience. The magazine looks fantastic and includes a great piece on the Tryon Technology Park. Community assistance, Gloversville, working with the local waterfront revitalization program, working on several development projects on Main Street, additionally working with a developer on a large parcel in the city of Gloversville. Our Mohawk Valley Working Capital Partner, MVEDD, was approved by the EDA, for over 22 million in working capital. CRG has referred another 4 businesses for financing for a total of 6. The joint marketing campaign strategy has been developed for Northville and Northampton, is being reviewed by the communities. Once the strategy is set, the next step is the preparation of cost analysis and job report. The development of Gloversville Merchants Association continues to advance with the goal of helping existing merchants and encouraging new merchants as well. Recent upgrades to the downtown Gloversville website looks very good. A few additional enhancements are in progress. Business marketing, business recruitment, and initiatives. CRG is working on the documents necessary for completion of the approved New York State Job Development Authority, allowing CRG to start lending through the JDA agricultural program. Still planning to have the program in place in the first quarter of 2021. New York State Capital Region New Frontier program is still running. Working on potential lead for a company looking for a larger location. Working with state and on a lead for a larger development. We are in discussions with the investors. Working on financing the business looking to develop along the Great Second Dog Lake. CRG continues reviewing possible opportunities with them. We are moving forward with a developer on a large development proposal in Gloversville. Marketing is always ongoing, and developer relationships ongoing. CRG events, CRG has a robust business training schedule for 2021, and CRG will be conducting a workforce Zoom meeting for Fulton County businesses. That concludes the report.
Thank you, Terry. Any questions of Terry?
You're welcome.
Yeah, I have can I ask a question?
Sure.
Benjamin Moore project, I was over there a couple of weeks ago. I was kind of surprised at the amount of dirt being moved over there. Is that all just one building, or is there kind of other things? I mean, it's quite a large site that they were moving dirt on all over the place, so.
The large building they're putting up.
Yeah, well,
It's requiring a fair amount of earthwork, yes.
yeah, okay, all right. I was just kind of surprised that the
117,000 square foot addition being put on.
well,
That's-
I get the impression they're leveling the ground too, so.
They are. Terry, it's Joe Simeon. I have a question about the Trion Technology Park. It said in the report, yeah, the CRG offered the park to a group needing between 80 and 100 acres. Was that just an initial inquiry, or, you know, I guess just as chairman and just as, you know, a member of this board, when we have an inquiry, I guess we would maybe like to hear about it, because I mean, the line there could be a simple inquiry of a phone call saying, hey, we might be looking for it, or it could be a company, as in the past, looking for it, and then it's brought to us. So how do you determine what's brought to us, and, you know, what's a simple phone call? I mean, or is that more a question for Ron Peters? Because we've given a layout as to what we would like in the park, you know, as a guideline. So
Yes, that is correct. And that would be a question for Ron.
okay, if you could have him maybe contact me at a later time, that'd be great.
I certainly will.
Okay, thank you. Because I think we just need to stay connected all the time. We're working
Absolutely.
together. Yep, thank you, Terry.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Any other questions of Terry? Very good. Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Moving on to old business. Sewer line serving the parcel on the south side of 107. At your last meeting, you authorized Adirondack Septic to go and power jet and vacuum that line. They had scheduled that work to start on December 17th. That little snowstorm that we had that dumped 24 inches of snow on the ground put a halt on them doing that work. Back then, they actually restarted it last week and will be finishing it up today. So that work is going to be completed. It just got delayed because of the snowstorm. With regard to the vandalism at Tryon, we have received the $5,500 check reimbursement from NYMER for the emergency repair work that was done. So that's good news. And the status of the property, the sale of the property on the south side of 107. Kara, are you on the meeting? Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
You are there. Good morning.
Good morning.
After going around a little bit here, we actually did close on the property yesterday. I sent Kara copies of the 3 checks just for proof that we did receive the payments that were due the IDA. So thank you, Kara, for your work on that. Thank you, Terry, for your work on that. But that as of yesterday afternoon,
You're welcome.
that property has been ownership has been transferred to Tryon Organics LLC.
Dave, I had them wait until after the new year, so I get the credit for that.
Oh, that's where we're going, huh?
With that, there's one thing I wanted to ask the board. As part of this transaction and a number of previous transactions, we had to have certain documents. The chairman had to sign certain documents, and then we had to get those notarized. Rochelle Van Valkenburg downstairs here in our personnel office is a notary. And she has graciously offered at all times to notarize documents that the IDA needs notarized. Notaries, Kara, correct me if I'm wrong, but notaries, I think in New York State, they can charge $2 per transaction.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a minimum, but they can charge a fee, yes.
Yeah, well, Rochelle can do it. But has not charged the IDA anything over the last number of years that we've been taking documents to her. I would like to thank her for her graciousness and professionalism that she does every time we ask her to sign documents, and was wondering if the board would be willing to grant her a small stipend as a show of our appreciation for every time we go to her and impose on her to notarize a document. Just this past one, there was 2 or 3 pages that had to be notarized. Whenever we have a project, the Benjamin Moore project had a series of documents that had to be notarized. Same thing with Nexus Renewables. So I just think it would be a nice gesture on the IDA's part to give her a small stipend to say thank you for all the time she's done this. Thoughts, comments?
I would suggest, just based on the number of documents I've signed over the last 4 months, that more than justifies, I think, the offer, let alone the several years in which she's provided that service at no charge. So I would endorse the recommendation as just even a show of gratitude for her availability and willingness to provide that service. So
I would like to suggest a $100 check as a thank you, if that's something that the board would be willing to consider.
I think that's reasonable.
That's fine with me.
Yep, no problem here.
So I'll make a motion to authorize that a check to Rochelle in the amount of $100, please.
So moved.
Second,
Second to that,
Joe.
Joe Semyon.
Yeah.
Let's take a roll call vote to approve. Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semyon,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
Gerald,
Aye.
Joe Gillis.
Aye.
Thank you. The one other item to add, in my email to you last week, transmitting the IDA agenda, I had mentioned the issues that we were having with the wastewater pump station and some issues that we were having with its operation, with alarms going off. As I mentioned in that, it's something that we had to fix. Adirondack, who happened to be there last week, starting work on the power jetting and vacuuming of the sewer line, went over and looked at it. Problem with floats. And so they needed to be replaced again to get the pump station operational. I haven't received, they've done the work because again, we had to do it. And I think the cost is going to come in under $1,000 to replace the floats and by Adirondack Mechanical. So I'm asking for a motion to authorize a payment to Adirondack in an amount not to exceed $1,000 for performing that emergency repair work.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second. Dave?
Dave, thank you. Any questions or comments on that?
Was there another pump that we were worried about it being expensive?
Yes, and that proved to be not an issue.
Oh, great.
Okay, so we were very fortunate in that regard that the pump was not damaged. So that is the good news out of this. Thanks for bringing that up, Joe.
No problem. Thank you.
Todd, did you have a question?
No, it was the same one that Joe just asked.
No. So, all right, let's do a roll call vote. Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semyon,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Joe Gillis.
Aye.
Very good. Kara, is there anything to add regarding the sale of the property on the south side of 107?
No, nothing more to add. We'll send a letter that's required under real property tax law indicating that the property is back on the tax roll. So we'll send that to the taxing jurisdiction so they'll be aware to put that back on the roll for the next, for as of March 1st. So, but other than that, nothing else to do on that one.
Very good. Moving on to new business, which are going to be all of the actions that we take relative to our annual meeting. First, with our committee appointments, per the IDA bylaws, the chairman annually appoints committees, and as shown on your agenda are the appointees for each committee that Joe has made for 2021. If you have any issues with those, take them directly with Joe. So
Thank you.
for the next is staff appointments. The bylaws require the IDA board to annually appoint an executive director, a chief financial officer, and an auditor. So we'll start with the executive director. Looking for a motion to appoint yours truly to serve as the executive director for 2021.
Make the motion.
Second to that,
I'll second it.
Mike. Let's do a roll call vote. Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semio,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Joe Gillis.
Aye.
Appointment of Chief Financial Officer Carol Ellis for 2021. Would someone make that motion?
I'll make that motion. Dave?
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Todd? Roll call vote. Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semio,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Joe Gillis.
Aye.
Appointment of auditor, recommending that the IDA retain the Weston Company. And so asking for a motion to appoint Weston Company to serve as the IDA's auditor for 2021 and to authorize the chairman to execute an agreement with them to audit our 2020 financial statement and provide payroll services for 2021. Someone make that motion.
I'll make that motion, Jim.
Thank you, Mike. Second to that,
Second?
roll call vote. Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semio,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Joe Gillis.
Aye.
Next, recommending that the IDA retain Fitzgerald Morris Baker Firth to serve as IDA counsel for 2021. Someone make that motion?
But the long
Come on,
pause.
Joe. Come on, Joe, you gotta be quicker on the gun with that one.
I know, the long pause. Here we go. I make that motion. You're doing a wonderful job for us.
Is there a second to that?
Second?
Roll call vote. Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semio,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Joe Gillis.
Aye.
Next, per the IDA's investment policy, you're supposed to each year designate depositories for IDA funds. Similar to last year, recommending to designate all local banks, NBT, Citizens, Berkshire Bank, and Key Bank as eligible depositories for IDA funds for 2021. Would someone be willing to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Jane. Is there a second to that?
I'll
I'll
second, Jim.
second.
Thank you, Mike. Roll call vote. Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semio,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald,
Aye.
and Joe Gillis.
Aye.
The 2020 financial report, Carol has completed that report and it has been sent to the Weston Company. That report forms the basis of the audit that they perform. So they have already commenced work on that. We will receive a report, the audit report, typically in early March. And so we're waiting for that come back from Weston Company. Next, the 2020 IDA Board Questionnaire. Again, this is something that's required by the PAAA. Attached to your agenda was the summary of the findings, and what there were two comments to point out, folks, relative to setting measurable performance goals for the authority, and better knowledge of the statutory obligations of the IDA and if we're in compliance with state law. So those were the two items that were measured. We are going to talk about goals later in the meeting, and we're also going to do some board training later in the meeting. So we're looking to address both of those right here at the start of this meeting. So any questions on the performance questionnaire? Hearing none, would someone make a motion to authorize its posting onto the IDA's website?
So moved.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Roll call vote. Joe Gillis,
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Joe Semio,
Aye.
Dave Demore.
Aye.
Our 2020 performance and measurement report is attached. Again, another requirement that the IDA has to do. The two-page document that Joe, the chairman, will have to sign once you folks approve it. So any questions on the 2020 performance and measurement report that's attached to your agenda? Hearing none, would someone make the motion to authorize the chairman to sign that and to have it posted onto the IDA's website?
I make that motion.
I'll make.
Joe and Todd. Let's do a roll call vote. Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semio,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Joe Gillis.
Aye.
Next is the assessment of the effectiveness of the IDA's internal financial control system. Our policy number 11 requires that we complete an annual assessment of our internal financial controls. This year, unlike the last couple of years, management, which is Carol and I, have made some suggestions to improve our financial control system. This year, no changes are being recommended. We feel that the system worked very well this year. And so I'm asking for a motion to adopt the certification statement that's presented here in the agenda, to authorize the executive director to acknowledge in Paris that said certification statement was approved by the AD board, and to authorize having this certification posted onto the IDA's website. Would someone be willing to make that motion? Dave Demore?
So moved.
So is there a second to that?
I'll second, Jim.
Mike Fitzgerald? Roll call vote. Dave Demore?
Aye.
Joe Semio?
Aye.
Todd Rulison?
Aye.
Jane Kelly?
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Joe Gillis?
Aye.
Next is the 2021 agreement with Fulton County. The county has appropriated $5,000 into the planning department's 2021 budget to help the IDA cover costs with operating the Tryon Technology Park. Typically, we seek reimbursement from the county for insurance and mowing. That amount has been steadily declining. But for this year, it's at $5,000. So I'm asking for authorization for the chairman to execute that agreement with Fulton County regarding those funds. Someone willing to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Jane, is there a second to that?
Second.
Roll call vote. Joe Gillis,
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Bill Semyon,
Aye.
Dave Demore.
All right.
Next is our renewal of a gold membership with the Fulton County Center for Regional Growth. Recommending that membership be renewed for 2021 at a cost of $1,000. Would someone be willing to make that motion?
I'll make the motion, Jim.
Dave and Jane,
Yep.
do a roll call vote. Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semyon,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Joe Gillis.
Aye.
Our 2020 pilot report. Each year, we monitor all pilot agreements that we have to verify that the pilot payments that are required to be made under those agreements are actually being made. We send letters to every company that has a pilot. And then we also send letters to the taxing jurisdictions to make sure both sides are saying the same thing. We have done that. And the good news is that our finding is that all pilot payments that were required to be made in 2020 have indeed been made. So just for your own sake, as of 2020, January 1 of this year, we now have 5 active projects. CG Roxanne, YMCA, Century Linen, which will expire later this 2021. Correct, Kara? I think that was for their sales tax exemptions. It was only supposed to, I think it was expiring late, sometime this year.
Yeah, I'll pull up the date. I can get the exact, I'll pull it up for you.
Nexus Renewables and Benjamin Moore. And we have right now active pilots with just CG Roxanne and Benjamin Moore. The YMCA did not have a pilot because they're already tax exempt. Century Linen, there was no pilot. It was only sales tax exemptions. And Nexus Renewables, same thing, no pilot, just sales tax exemptions. Okay. All right, 2021 goals. Open discussion in terms of what the board would like to establish as potential goals to pursue in 2021.
I'd love to pursue the goal of meeting in person at some point.
That's probably the most difficult one that we're going to have out there, Dave.
Shoot high, Jim, shoot high.
Realistically, that's not going to happen for months.
Understood. Tongue-in-cheek comment.
Unfortunately.
I did want to seriously suggest that we had started an initiative, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 years ago now, about trying to identify potential sites for redevelopment. I know the CRG has been doing similar activities. I'm wondering what everybody's thoughts are about that endeavor. You know, we've had an uptick in our project activity over the last 1.5 years. And so a lot of our time has been reallocated to those tasks and that. And, you know, we had talked about doing desktop assessments of, you know, what it would take to redevelop some of these distressed properties in our communities. Wondering if there's any sense about if we continue with that kind of idea.
I think that's a great idea. Jim and I had talked about that earlier too. We just need to see what sites are out there so we can, like you said, make the assessments to see whether they're feasible or not. So because as you know, I mean, we only have limited amount of land, and say someone comes to Tryon and takes a lot of it, and then we don't have, someone wants to come to the CRG or us, and we don't have any sites for them. So we really have to just see what's out there. And I think Jim and Scott have the basis for that already. They can start developing that. And I think Jim and I talked about getting those things sent to us so we can start looking at what sites they might be, then maybe talking about individual ones that might be of interest for expansion.
I think that's a doable goal for this year. Okay.
Okay.
Any others?
I know that we've had recently, talking to potential investors, we've run into hurdles with closings, whether it be sewer lines or roads that are acceptable by the town. Or getting National Grid to come and assign a physical address? I mean, should we do an assessment and see if we can clear some of those hurdles before we get additional inquiries? I mean, would it be worth going out to National Grid and saying, can you assign a 911 and work with the county, assign 911 addresses to parcels so we don't have to wait for that hurdle? And maybe try to find maybe some way to streamline hookups for potential buyers. I'm trying to think of ways to expedite maybe transactions and clear hurdles beforehand that we know have existed in the past.
I
We
think
can certainly try, Mike. I would agree if there's any way to clear up hurdles ahead of time, that's certainly in everybody's best interest. I'm not sure, if we can do that, but we can certainly look at it.
Well, I think one of the biggest ones that we just hear constantly, and Mike brought up, is National Grid. And obviously, they move at their own pace. I mean, it's taken years to do certain projects and stuff, and it's actually probably killed a few deals because people haven't got the answers back as to how much it's going to cost to tie in. Again, maybe talking to Bob Smallins or assembly people just to see if there's a way of doing it, because I just think we just need to have someone that can represent us better than us just constantly knocking on the door saying, we really need an answer, or our prospective person that wants a site really needs to have these answers done, not just at your convenience, but within, say, 30 days.
I think it's something we can certainly take a look at.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have
I was
we
thinking,
ever,
go ahead, Todd.
thank you. Have we ever had a National Grid representative on the board?
Yes.
Do they have any local presence that perhaps they may want to be on the board for these development projects, knowing them ahead of time or being more involved at the local level?
Well, to answer your first question, Todd, yes, we've had National Grid representatives serving on the IDA board for many years. And your second question, I don't know. We could certainly ask, if there is someone locally who would be interested and willing to serve on this board. I think it's a good idea, because we've had National Grid representatives on the board in the past. Something we can certainly reach out to the local office and see if there's a willingness to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other goals? I would like to suggest that we, in response to the performance questionnaire, that we have ongoing board training as a goal for this year.
I would agree.
I think that is something that we should get back to, and As you'll see here in a few minutes, we're going to start with it today, and I'm going to continue with that as long as time permits in our agendas.
Jim, the other thing that I was thinking we might want to consider is reestablishing some kind of summit with our other economic development partners in the county. Something that, I think we were striving to do last year at this time, but the pandemic kind of interrupted. But now that we've got, technology working to our advantage to be able to facilitate dialogue, when everybody's kind of spread out, maybe it's time to reconsider getting something on our agenda and everybody else's agenda, just as a point of following through on prior discussions of making sure we're all kind of pulling in the same direction and coordinating our efforts in a reasonable way.
I think that's a great idea, Dave. That previous effort to facilitate that type of a summit meeting was being coordinated by John Stead. I know we've talked, recently about restarting that. Let me have that conversation again with him and see if we can have established that as a goal for 2021 to get that done.
And I'm quite sure he's busy with pandemic-related management issues and all the rest of it. I'm not insensitive to that. I just think when we're talking about goals, at some point, I think we should try to establish something. And
it doesn't have to be tomorrow. We're talking a goal for 2021, and hopefully this thing is going to start to slow down at some time. And
right
when the time is appropriate, let's look to try and get that done.
Yep.
Okay. Any others?
Yeah, Jim, Joe Gillis. I'd like to see us try to develop some more revenue streams for the IDA, whether that be put a billboard on the arterial, get 10 acres and develop it and sell lots to try to spur residential development around the cities or contiguous with the cities instead of out away from the cities. That's just my thought.
Okay. Anything else? Very good. Well, we've established a couple of goals, and I will try to get those written up, and I'll actually include those as in the agenda for next meeting. So we're going to see all those and kind of endorse those. Okay. Very good. National Grid easement. I'd emailed everybody about a request from a property owner out adjacent to the CG Roxanne water bottling plant, who asked for an easement from the IDA to allow for National Grid to extend a power line down the road. The easement was right at the corner of the property, and they needed it to take down a small tree that was in the right of way. So I had asked everybody for their okay on that, or everybody responded back saying it was okay to go ahead and do that. I'm asking for this now, kind of a retroactive approval of granting that easement. Would someone be willing to make a motion to retroactively authorize the chairman to execute that easement?
Make that motion, Jim.
Thank you, Mike. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Ellie? Let's do a roll call vote. Dave Demore.
Aye.
Joe Semyon.
Aye.
Todd Rulison.
Aye.
Jane Kelly.
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald.
Aye.
And Joe Gillis.
Aye.
Very good. All right, we're going to talk about board training here for a few minutes. First topic is just with the Authority Budget Office's best practices regarding conducting meetings and the open meetings law. My intent here is to touch on some things here. I'm not going to review and read every item that's on here. I'm going to ask you folks as time to read the whole thing so you have a better understanding of what some of the ABO's best practices are and requirements of the open meetings law. So when we schedule a meeting, we have to we're required to issue a public notice. And it's recommended that we post the notice on the IDA's website. And again, we typically post our agenda on our website the Friday before our monthly meeting. So we're doing already with what the ABO recommends relative to public notices. The one thing that we aren't doing, and it's something I guess I got to ask Kara, it says public notice should be given to the news media, which we do, okay, and conspicuously posted in one or more designated locations. What does that mean, Kara?
This would be like a signboard. If there's a signboard at the county center that posts meetings, or within your building, actually, that has a signboard for meeting.
So if we just
Yeah,
if we just take it down,
municipalities do them like or on a bulletin board.
but so if we posted it downstairs on the bulletin board and that we have in this building, that would work.
That would be sufficient. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
The only thing I read the next line down, it says that it's accessible to the public, which right now, unfortunately, we can't. So we have to find the signboard first.
That downstairs bulletin board is accessible.
It is. You can walk in to the building.
Yeah. Oh, no. Right. Because of COVID, we can't.
Oh, yes, I know.
Correct. That's a good point, Joe. As of right now.
Right now, we can't.
Right. And
Right now, there's probably a few places that meet the definition because of everything closed except by appointment, etc. But you've got the notice on your website,
Correct.
and then this
And
other.
to me, this one is, a very minor thing. But it's something that we have to figure out how to do so that we're in compliance with this requirement. So moving on, they talk about who should prepare the meeting agenda, and they recommend that the chief executive and the chairman of the board collaboratively prepare the agenda. That's currently happening. We do that for the past couple of years. Dave and I either meet or talk the Friday before a meeting and go through the entire agenda. I did that last Friday with Joe. So we are kind of doing one of those best practices that the ABO recommends. It also recommends that, all meeting materials be distributed to board members. It says at least 1 week in advance. I send you everything on the Thursday before the meeting. And let me ask you, I can do it a week in advance. It's just the challenge becomes things happen quite a bit. Those last few days of the week that I wouldn't be able to put some of these things into the agenda. When I send this to you on Thursday, is that giving you enough time to review the agenda before today's meeting?
I have no problem with that. I mean,
I think,
it's brought up at times. I mean, even the day before something comes up. So
Okay.
that 1 week, I don't think is
I mean,
necessary.
it's just a recommended practice, and again, we've chosen to do it 4 or 5 days, not 7 days. And as long as you're okay with that, we'll continue with that, because I think it has been working fairly well. Moving on, one of the things it talks about is, can meetings be conducted through teleconference like we're doing? And the answer, per the law, the answer is no. Okay, and the only reason we're being able to do these is because the governor has been issuing these executive orders that allow for these teleconferencing meetings to be conducted. Once the governor stops continuing these executive orders, we will have to go back to regular in-person meetings. And I don't expect that to happen anytime soon, that we're going to continue to be doing teleconferencing. Executive sessions is another item. And the law is very clear. There's 8 reasons why a public authority can go into an executive session. And those are listed right there on the top of page 15 of your agenda. In case you haven't noticed, later in this meeting, I'm going to ask for an executive session, and we put right into the agenda those 8 criteria. And then we specifically identify which one of those criteria is being utilized to call for an executive session. So in doing so, this is how we are complying with the requirements of open meetings law, is by putting those exact same 8 reasons into the agenda and then specifying which one we're using as the basis for calling for an executive session. Board meeting attendances, board members are required to sign an acknowledgement of your fiduciary duties and responsibilities. All of you board members have signed that form. You all sign that when you get appointed to the IDA board. So we are in compliance with that requirement. As a best practice, the ABO recommends that public authorities conduct an internal orientation session for new board members. We do that for new board members. So we are complying with that best practice from the ABO. Meeting quorums, again, as a 7-member board, I think we all know that a quorum is 4 members. And if you don't have 4 members, we can't conduct a meeting and can't conduct any business, but you can have informal discussions. Fortunately, we've not run into that situation in the past. And lastly, board meeting actions. One of the best practices that they recommend is that the bylaws identify the types of actions that the board should use and adopt a resolution for those actions, as opposed to just doing a motion. Kara, from your experience, I mean, do other IDAs do that in their bylaws?
I think there's this mix. I think it's a mix. We did have with an audit with the ABO, and they had, and I don't agree with their position. They had some questions about whether or not if they could tell by the minutes certain resolutions that we drafted versus resolutions that were just a recitation of what transpired at the meeting. And they prefer that they be this, written out in advance. I guess that's, I from the legal perspective, it has the same significance, has the same impact, regardless if I prepare it, you prepare it, or you do it off the cuff and it's a approach. But I think that varies among the IDAs.
I think for our best practices or past practices, I should say, most of the actions that we take relative to a project, where we induce the project and give final approval to a project, we have typically done by resolution.
Right.
Okay. But some other actions, like we went through here today, we just do by motion. I think we're okay because, unlike many other boards, the agendas that we put together for here are fairly detailed. And so there a lot of the background information that you would put into a resolution, we have it in the agenda, and it gets included into the minutes. So yes, you're seeing the action is just a motion, but all the background information that's needed to make a decision on that motion is already, you see it in the agenda. So the agenda and the motion combined kind of is like equals what a resolution would consist of anyway. So I guess I asked board members, would you prefer to have more items approved by resolution, or are you okay with us continuing to do motions with like all the background information regarding that action in the agendas? Anyone have any thoughts on that?
I think the way we're doing it is working properly for us.
I have no objection to how we've been conducting our business. I think it's been thorough and detailed, regardless of the fact that we're not doing everything through a pre-written resolution. So I think we're following the best practices we can and should to be able to respond to, whatever demands are being placed on us.
Okay. Kara, are you comfortable with how we're doing?
I think what you're doing is adequate, more than adequate under the legal requirement.
All right. Last two things. How many votes are needed for a board to take action? That's something that often gets confusing. We got a 7-member board, what happens if there's only 5 members that show up? I mean, there were times when people said, well, you got 5 members, so you got to have three people. The majority of those present, is enough to pass the motion. No, it's a majority of the entire board. So if you only have 5 members there to pass it, you still have to have 4 votes. Okay. If you have 4 members there, it has to be a 4-0 vote. If it's 3-1, then that action would not pass. So just to make sure everybody understands that. Fortunately, we haven't had that as an issue, but it is one of the requirements of the Public Authorities Law. And lastly, can board members vote by proxy? No. Public authorities are not. You have to be physically present. That meaning now, because of the governor's orders, you're able to vote via teleconferencing, but we can't vote by proxy. Okay.
Good.
Very good. Last item under other business. Annually, we receive these fire tax bills from the town of Johnstown for properties that the IDA owns in the town of Johnstown. Even though the IDA is tax exempt and we don't have to pay county, school, or city or town taxes, we are not exempt from paying fire taxes. So these are the fire tax bills that we've received, and I'm asking for a motion to authorize the payment of those 4 fire tax bills for 2021. Would someone be willing to make that motion?
I make that motion.
Joe Semyon, is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Kelly, thank you, Jane. A roll call vote. Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semyon,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald,
Yeah, I'm right.
yeah, Mike, you're on mute. There,
Aye.
and Joe Gillis.
Aye.
Very good. We're now asking for an executive session to discuss the proposed acquisition, sale, or lease of real property, or the proposed acquisition of securities or sale or exchange of securities held by such public body, but only when the publicity would substantially affect the value thereof. Would someone be willing to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Dave, is there a second?
I'll second.
Jane? Roll call vote. Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semyon,
Aye.
Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Joe Gillis.
Aye.
We're going into an executive session at 9:06 a.m. Motion to go out of executive?
So moved.
Jane.
So moved.
I'll see everyone next meeting.
Joe.
Okay, thanks. Thanks,
Aye,
Joe.
Joe.
Aye.
Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semyon, I hear you.
Aye.
Todd Wilson,
Aye.
Jane,
Yep.
Mike, Joe.
Aye.
Aye.
We need a motion to authorize a payment to Fulton County for 6% of the net revenues to the IDA for the sale of the property on the south side.
I'll make that motion.
Second, Jim.
Thank you, Mike. Roll call vote. Dave,
Aye.
Todd,
Aye.
Jane,
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Joe Gillis.
Aye.
Motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
I'll make it.
Jane Kelly, Joe Gillis. Roll call vote. Dave Demore,
Aye.
Joe Semio, John Todd Rulison,
Aye.
Jane Kelly,
Aye.
Mike Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Joe Gillis.
Aye.
Thank you, folks. We meet
Thank
again
you.
on Tuesday, February 9th. One of the things we're going to do then is I'm going to ask Betsy Emery to participate in the meeting and go through the IDA's updated new website and show you how that works.